Athletic Bilbao have boosted their chances of playing European football next season with a win against Sevilla. The goals came in the second half, an own goal there from Federico Fazio putting Bilbao ahead. Sevilla losing both their frontline strikers through injury, Alvaro Negredo and then Luis Fabiano here being stretchered off with what is a serious knee injury. Late penalty from Andoni Iraola completing a 2-0 win. Bilbao now 5th in the table. So Bilbao up into the Europa League places. Barca at the top, they now turn their attentions to the Champions League. They're 2-1 down going into the second leg of their Champions League tie with Arsenal. 9th place, Real Sociedad take on Deportivo La Coruña later on this Monday. Now in Italy, Inter Milan have closed the gap on leaders and city rivals AC to 5 points. Inter hit Genoa for 5 at the San Siro, all their goals coming up in the second half. Well, Milan had beaten Juventus 1-0 on Saturday. So Inter really had to win this match, but it was mid-table Genoa who took the lead early in the first half. Rodrigo Palacio with that goal. It all changed, though, after the break. Inter quickly level. Gianpaolo Pazzini with the equaliser. Samuel Eto'o then scored a couple. His second here, arguably the pick of Inter's goals to make it 3-1. Still time for Inter to grab a couple more. Goran Pandev finishing off this move. Final score 5-2 to Inter. Lazio have moved back to 4th place in a Champions League spot after beating Palermo 2-0. Giuseppe Scully scoring for the first time this season, and he got a second just a few minutes later. This Palermo's 4th straight defeat. The early game on Sunday saw 2 of Serie A's strugglers playing each other. Cesena claiming a crucial away win at Sampdoria. 3-2 the final score. That result lifting them out of the relegation zone. Lazio are now ahead of Udinese in the race for a Champions League spot. Palermo, they dropped down to 8th. Their terrible season continues, but the league still looks like Milan's to lose. Napoli have lost more ground at the top after a 0-0 draw with Brescia. Quick look now at the top of the English Premier League, where Man United were beaten 3-1 at Liverpool. United now just 3 points ahead of Arsenal with a game in hand. Tottenham missed the chance to move back into the top 4. They drew 3-3 with relegation-threatened Wolves. Chelsea are in action later on. They play Blackpool. Now, as we were talking about, England's Kevin Pietersen has confirmed on Twitter he's out of the Cricket World Cup and is returning home for a hernia operation. The 30-year-old dismissed for just 2 here against South Africa, but said he was devastated to be leaving India. England had originally hoped to manage the star batsman's pre-existing injury through the tournament. He'll be replaced in the squad now by Owen Morgan. It's India who lead England's qualifying group. Their match against Ireland, all about Yuvraj Singh. He took his first ever 5-wicket haul in one day as Ireland were bowled out for 207. Yuvraj also hit an unbeaten 50. He and Yusuf Pathan seeing India home as they wrapped up victory by 5 wickets with 4 overs to spare.
This is what I try and do in tough situations, try and bat well for India, take my team to victory, bowl well, field well. That's what I try and do, and that's what I try and do every day. I'm very happy that last 2 games I scored 250s, and I'm hitting the ball well, I'm bowling well, so things are looking good for me.
Huge game taking place right now. Canada taking on Kenya in Group A. It will be a first victory for either of the teams if they can get a win, unless they tie. Kenya won the toss, decided to bat. They are currently 84 for 5 off 24 overs. Now, the quarter-final lineup for tennis's Davis Cup is now complete. France have made it through despite the absence of their big names for the tie with Austria. Quite an atmosphere in Vienna for this decisive match between Martin Fischer and Jeremy Chardy. Fischer going 1 set up in front of home support. No Songa, Monfils or Gasquet for France, but Chardy recovered to record a 4-set win. France next face Germany. Here's the draw in full. Defending champion Serbia ease past India. Next up for them is Sweden. Andy Roddick inspired the United States to victory over Chile. They now take on Spain. Those ties will be played in July. To golf, where Rory Sabatini survived a late scare to claim victory at the Honda Classic. The South African watched South Korea's Wai Yang chip away at his 5-shot overnight lead, but after a brief pause for lightning, Sabatini held his nerve to make par on the final hole, finishing 9 under par, sealing a 1-shot win. It's his 6th PGA Tour title. Sebastian Loeb took advantage of his teammates' misfortune to win the Rally of Mexico. Sébastien Ogier was the leader going into the final day of racing, but the Citroën driver crashed out. He was unable to carry on. Left the road clear for Loeb to win this rally for the 5th successive year. The 7-time world champion, now 2nd in the overall title standings behind Finland's Mika Hirvonen. OK, that is your sport.
Cheers, Andy. Thank you for that. Just finally, after nearly 3 decades of space travel, the shuttle Discovery is getting ready for its final journey. Astronauts have sealed its hatches with the International Space Station as they prepare to undock. Discovery will fly a victory lap around the orbiting lab before heading back to Earth, scheduled for that final touchdown on Wednesday. Stick around on Al Jazeera. Coming up, more on the uprising in Libya as the fighting intensifies in the coastal areas near Ras Lanuf. An update on that situation at the top of the hour.
Rhythms of resistance.
A part of the struggle and popular resistance is art. Through my art, I resist. Resistance is my art, and my art is my war.
Musicians using music as a way to maintain their cultural identity.
I believe that when I sing to the world, I portray Palestine through my voice, my singing, and my songs.
Songs from the lost homeland. At this time, on Al Jazeera.
Personal blogs by professional journalists. blogs.aljazeera.net.
It is 1100 hours GMT. I'm Kamal Santamaria. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. These are the headlines. Colonel Gaddafi staging something of a fight back in Libya as his forces push east, taking Bin Jawad and then moving on the oil port of Ras Lanuf. Zawiya as well, not far from the capital, Tripoli. That's important. That's also under attack. However, Colonel Gaddafi may also be seeking dialogue. A former Prime Minister has appeared on state television urging opposition members to join in the talks. Gaddafi himself, you see him there, also making another of his appearances, just a brief appearance on state television at Tripoli's Green Square overnight. And the African Union's joined the EU and the UN in sending fact-finders to Libya. Each day of fighting is causing more deaths and injuries. Diplomats seeking information about this humanitarian situation. Well, what began as a series of anti-government protests now looks more like, to be fair, the beginning of a civil war. These are the main flashpoints in Libya. Start in the east with our reports of fighting between pro and anti-government forces in Tobruk. Benghazi, a bit further west, which is the stronghold, of course, of the opposition fighters who say they're still in control of Benghazi, still there. And anti-Gaddafi fighters have continued that push west, as we mentioned, Ras Lanuf and Bin Jawad, a little bit further west again, which was apparently taken back